Hello, you, and welcome to this third episode in my Becoming a Pilot series. My name is Thomas, and today we are preparing for the CAT-03 rating on PilotEdge. In the first two episodes, you'll see me do a lot of things and not explaining why I do them or what I'm looking for on the instruments. This is, however, not meant as a tutorial as much as it is an explanation, so you with no knowledge can also follow along when I forget to inform you what I'm doing while flying. Little disclaimer, I'll be following the FAA rules here since we're flying around in California on PilotEdge, and keep in mind I'm not a certified flight instructor, I do this for entertainment purposes only. The CAT-03 rating is to test our ability to fly a traffic pattern while communicating with the controller at the airport, so let's get into it. You might not know much, if anything, about traffic patterns, so we'll go over how to fly a traffic pattern safely in this video. Traffic patterns are laid out at airports to make the traffic flow in a safe manner. As you can see in this drawing, it looks almost like a racetrack. If not otherwise stated, all turns after takeoff must be done to the left. That is called a left-hand traffic pattern, as you can see. Each leg of the pattern has individual names to make it easier for the controllers and pilot to announce positions. The departure leg is the first leg once airborne. It may also be referred to as the upwind leg. That is what I was taught, and that is what I usually say on the radio. To me, the departures would be going straight out or leaving the pattern right after your takeoff. But on the official FAA drawing here, it says departure already here. But yeah, I usually use upwind. 90 degrees left turn, and we end up on crosswind. Not much to tell about this one, so we transition with another 90 degrees turn to the left, and we end up parallel to the runway in the opposite direction intended for our landing direction. This leg is called the downwind leg. This leg can get quite busy as pilots will finish all preparations and checks before landing. We must look out for other aircraft, some already in the pattern, or some might arrive from outside onto this leg, but more on that soon. The downward leg is flown approximately half to 1 mile away from the landing runway. We keep the pattern altitude, which is usually 1,000 feet above ground level for single engine aircraft and 1,500 feet for multi-engine aircraft, until abeam the approach end of the runway. The next leg is again another 90 degrees left turn and is called the base leg. The main purpose for us on base leg is to make sure that we are not going to collide with another aircraft on or turning onto final. So on base leg we will look to the right on the extended center line of the runway in case someone was flying straight in, or if somebody else is coming in from another direction onto final, we will have a chance to look out for them. Next up we have the final leg. This leg is the last one in the pattern. It is also the most important or critical leg of the traffic pattern, with the sound judgment and the precision required to maintain a steady descent and airspeed. Sometimes you will also hear someone say short final on the radio, which tells us they are on final and very close to the runway, so just before landing. Since we're doing left turns, you can also expect to announce or hear other pilots report left downwind or left base. Left or right will always be looked at from the direction of the takeoff or landing. Just a quick look at what the right-hand traffic pattern looks like. It is exactly the same, just all turns after departure or takeoff is done to the right. As I said previously, if not otherwise stated, all traffic patterns are flown as left-hand, but how do you know if it is or it isn't? Most airports have traffic pattern indicators laid out on the ground, which are very easy to see from the air and will show you an L shape to indicate which turns to make. These markings are usually around a windsock, but you can always find the information in the airport facility directory, which is a good book, or 7 of them actually. But the easiest way for us is to look at Sky Vector. If you right click on the airport, you can enter the airport page. And up here in the left hand corner, we have the chart supplements. This is the same information that you will find in the airport facility directory books. So for me, it is a lot easier to just look it up here on SkyVector. In this case, for Oceano, which we flew from in episode 1, we can see that runway 29 says nothing other than brush. So that means it is left-hand patterns. But runway 11 says right traffic. As you can see, the reason behind that is they want us away from the populated area just in the vicinity of the airport. So if you're taking off from runway 29, we will do a left-hand pattern over after the shoreline and then come back here and then for landing. If you're taking off from runway 11, we do right-hand traffic down here and on downwind over the water, base and final. So we will never overfly the populated area, and that is simply just to reduce the noise for the neighbors. Looking at St. Louis, which is where we will perform the CAT-03 rating, runway 1129 doesn't say anything other than a lot of numbers here, which we shouldn't really be concerned about for our level. But because it doesn't say anything, we know it'll be left-hand pattern unless otherwise told by ATC once we sit in the aircraft. You can also see, if we get away from the chart supplements, that down here we have runway 1129. Runway 11 traffic pattern is to the left. Runway 29 traffic pattern also to the left. So also a good place to look for that information. Another important thing to look for is the TPA, or traffic pattern altitude. Single engine aircraft fly the pattern at 1000 feet above ground level, and multi-engine aircraft fly at 1500 feet above ground level. This information is also available in the chart supplements down in the airport remarks section. You can see there is a lot of valuable information about birds and noise abatement and tower unable to see you at a certain location. And down here it says TPA 1203 MSL, mean sea level, 991 AGL above ground level for single engine, and 1703 mean sea level and 1491 above ground level for multi-engine jet and high performance. We are concerned about the multi-engine for our purposes. So that is almost 1000 and 1500 feet. Remember, this is airport specific, so remember to check if it says anything. Arriving to a non-towered airport, the best practice is to enter the downwind leg from a 45-degree angle, which is called the 45-degree entry. So we enter here and onto the downwind leg. That is only good if you are arriving from a position where that makes sense. However, if you are arriving to a non-towered airport from the other direction of the pattern, the best practice procedure is as follows. Fly pattern altitude plus 500 feet. So that is 1500 feet for single engine and 2000 feet for multi-engine. Keep in mind, if you are flying single engine and there are multi-engine aircraft in the pattern, you should arrive 500 feet above their TPA, so also 2000 feet. It's a little confusing, but it's simply to avoid mid-air collisions. You should aim to fly perpendicular and midfield to the runway at that 500 feet above TPA. When well clear of the traffic pattern, approximately 2 miles, we scan for traffic and start our descent to the pattern altitude. Then we turn to the right to enter the downwind on that same 45-degree entry as shown before and join the pattern that way. This is the most demanding entry, but it is my preferred way over the next one due to safety. The next one here at figure B is an alternative way, but it is still a legal way of entering a traffic pattern. Once again, you fly perpendicular to the downwind leg at pattern altitude. And when midfield over the runway, you start a left turn to join downwind. Again, that is at pattern altitude. As always, you have to yield to aircraft already in the pattern as they have the right of way. The FAA don't recommend this entry, and I don't like it either, because once you start turning onto the downwind leg, you have no visual on aircraft coming from the right anymore. Finally, the FAA recommends that we tune and verify radio frequencies before entering the airport traffic area. Report our position 10 miles out and listen for reports from other aircraft inbound or in the traffic pattern. Report when entering downwind, turning downwind to base, and base to final. This is considered good practice at non-towered airports. Descend to traffic pattern altitude before entering the pattern. Pilots should maintain a constant visual scan for other aircraft. Use exterior lights to improve chances of being seen, and be aware that there may be aircraft in the pattern without radios. There is obviously more to traffic patterns, and a lot more when we start talking about aircraft specific things to look for when flying in the pattern. But if you're still around, then I hope this was informative and explains a lot of things that I don't have so much time to explain in the next episode when we are going flying. If you like the video, smash like, and if you want to follow along in the series, consider subscribing and press that bell to get notified next time I upload a video. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below and I'll get right back to you. I hope to see you in the next one when we go flying. Bye for now.